What is going on, YouTube? I got another mock draft going on for y'all to hear today. With this mock draft, I got another special panel for you guys. This panel, completely new people this time. We did bring one special person back, but with this panel, completely new content creators. Please feel free to click the links down below. Check out their Instagram pages or any other social media pages that they may have. This is going to be one of the best mock drafts you've ever seen. This mock draft is going to be reloaded. I already have trades that's already been taking place. Let's go ahead and have a quick look at these trades before we introduce everybody. So this is originally how the draft is ordered. The major trades that you're going to be seeing taking place are with the number 11 pick. The Green Bay Packers moved in exchange for the 22nd and 28th pick. And also, there was another trade with the Bills moving out of the first round. And the Falcons gave up their 2 second-round picks at 43 and 58. But, hey, let's get this draft here on the road and get everybody introduced. We're going to introduce from the top all the way down to the bottom. Let's go ahead and get this thing going.
All right, so I'm Commander Punk. As you may have noticed, I'm a Commanders fan, although I'm not a fan of the name. And Commander.punk or whatever is always going to be my username. So if you want to follow me on those, feel free to do so. I do cover other teams, but the Commanders are my main team.
Culture Gridiron up next.
Yeah, my name is Chris. I run Culture Gridiron. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and today I'm going to be drafting for the NFC South.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm on Sidekick Football. You can follow me on Instagram at Sidekick Football. I'm a Panthers fan, but I'm going to take over the AFC East today.
What's going on, guys? I've got the AFC North and the Lions and the Vikings. I'm from the Blitz. Go check us out at BlitzPod on Instagram. We just put out a brand new mock draft, brand new 2-round mock, and shout out to Adroit for putting us all together.
What's up, everyone? I'm Practice Makes Perfect, also known as PMP. I'm a graphic designer and sports card dealer. I will be covering the AFC South and drafting for them. Good luck.
What's up, guys? I'm Connor, aka Hawks Football 12. Just follow me at Hawks Football _12 on Instagram, and shout out to Adroit for this amazing time.
Most definitely, man. Oh, as you guys can see, there's 7 people here. There's 8 divisions. We had someone drop out last minute. It's perfectly fine. Me and Blitz are going to split up their division. They had the NFC North. I'm going to be picking for the Packers and the Vikings, and the Blitz is going to be picking for the Lions and the Bears. All right, so let's go ahead and get this draft here on the road. All right, with the number 1 overall pick, we have on the board the Jaguars. Your time started.
The Jacksonville Jaguars would like to select Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end from Michigan.
With this pick, Aiden Hutchinson, a lot of mock drafts, they have him going as the number 1 overall pick. He has the highest or the lowest floor in this draft. He's going to be one of the best players coming out of this draft. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions with the number 2 pick. You're on the clock. Oh, he's backstage. I'm going to bring it back up. Boom. All right, we're back.
All right. Tried shopping this pick. Don't really like this spot here for Detroit, but if I'm forced to stay put, it's going to be Kayvon Thibodeau here at number 2. This is a guy that's should have probably been edge 1. I think that a lot of this talk about his off-the-field stuff is all perpetuated by teams that want him to fall. I honestly think that he's got the highest ceiling of anybody in this class. I think he's got a higher ceiling than the number 1 pick, Aiden Hutchinson. And Detroit realistically needs everything, and I think Kayvon's the best player available.
All right, Kayvon Thibbs finally coming off the board at number 2 pick. Next up, we have the Texans. As you see, their team needs is every position. You're on the clock.
With the 3rd overall pick, the Houston Texans would like to draft Trayvon Walker, edge out of Georgia.
Very nice pick there. Trayvon scored amazing at the draft combine. With Trayvon, he was a little bit overshadowed by a lot of his Georgia teammates in this actual first round. You may see two of his other teammates get drafted. And these are his stats here, as you can see here on the screen. We have, with the next pick, the Jets. You're on the clock.
So originally, I thought the Jets could go with the offensive line, but it seems like they kind of rebuilt it in the offseason, and you have to put a little bit of trust into Becton. I think this guy's a real solid guy through and through, and he might be one of the best defensive guys in the draft, especially having the 32nd ranked defense last year, scoring wise. We're going with Sauce.
Sauce Gardner coming off that board nice and early. I was hopefully thinking that he was going to fall to me, but Sauce coming off that board. Next up, we got the New York Football Giants. You're on the clock. My bad, bro.
All good. With the fifth, the New York Football Giants select Evan Neal, offensive tackle.
Great pickup for them. Evan Neal played almost every position on the offensive line for Alabama during his time there. Giants desperately need someone that's going to be solid for the offensive line for the years to come. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers. You're on the clock.
So originally, I was thinking I was going to go QB with this pick, but based on how it's fallen so far, I did not expect Aquanu to get to this point, and I think he's honestly as a player might be one of the best, most complete players in the draft. So with the sixth pick, we're going to take Ikem Aquanu out of North Carolina State.
Icky, one of the best players in this draft. Amazing tape that he's displayed there at NC State. You see him just knocking guys off of the screen. And you can see his PFF grades when he went against top tier talent in his conference. I will have to pay to see these other stuff, but they're all in the 90s if you did want to know. But next up, we have the New York Giants with their next pick. You're on the clock.
So earlier I had wanted to take Sauce Gardner, but since he is off the board, there's another cornerback prospect that is absolutely interesting to us. So with the seventh overall pick, the New York Football Giants select Derek Stingley Jr.
Derek Stingley Jr., one of the best cornerbacks in this year's draft. With Derek Stingley, there's plenty of film of him locking up one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League, who goes by the name of Jamar Chase. Derek Stingley Jr. and Jamar Chase went to the same school. Derek Stingley did his thing against him, but he had some injury issues going on this past season, and that's the reason why his draft stock dropped. But he's still being taken in the top 10. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons. You're on the clock.
So with the loss of Calvin Ridley in the offseason, the Atlanta Falcons are going to look for his replacement in Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State University.
Great pickup. Garrett Wilson, pretty great hands, great speed. One of the best players in this year's draft. The wide receivers in this year's draft are pretty stacked, and Garrett Wilson has shown himself to be one of the top tier wide receivers in this year's draft. Next up, we have the Seahawks with the pick that they got in the Russell Wilson trade. You're on the clock. Oh, I think you went muted there. Hawks football, you're on the clock. Hawks football, can you hear? Hello, hello. Hawks football, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Wi-Fi is messing up. Okay, his Wi-Fi went out. It just booted him. But he's all good here. I'm gonna see if he comes back in here. I don't want to say his pick. I'm gonna give him about 5 more seconds. About to join back in. But in the meantime, there's plenty of people that the Seahawks could take with this pick. They could go ahead and get one of the best safeties in this year's draft, who goes by the name of Kyle Hamilton. In our mock draft so far, Kyle Hamilton is dropping. He is one of the premier defensive backs in this year's draft. He's a field hawk. A lot of player comparisons consist of Justin Simmons, and he's one of the best players in this year's draft. Another player that the Seahawks could go with is Bernard Raymond, one of the best offensive tackles in this year's draft. And we have Seahawks back. Seahawks, your pick was not announced. You are officially on the clock.
All right, sorry for the Wi-Fi mess up, but with the 9th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty.
Malik Willis,
Wow.
one of the best one of the best quarterbacks in this year's draft. Great career at Liberty, trend-setting career at Liberty. He's a transfer out of Georgia, one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. Dual threat guy, pretty nice arm, pretty nice at everything. He may need a year or two to develop, but they have Drew Lock there in Seattle that'll help with his development and show him what not to do at the next level. Next up, we have the Jets with another pick. You're on the clock.
So the draft fell pretty well for the Jets. They have a choice between Charles Cross and pretty much any wide receiver here. I think Zach Wilson's going to need a lot of help. I don't think Corey Davis is the answer. I think they need to get him a solidified wide receiver one. And there's a guy that's there that's comparable to Mike Evans, that when Zach Wilson scrambles out of the pocket and launches it deep, he has that guy to get him a 50-50 ball. So we're going to go with Drake London.
Drake London out of USC, one of the best wide receivers in this year's draft. Just like he stated before, great player comparison, by the way. Mike Evans, one of those grab him, go get him wide receivers. You can see his stats right there, everybody. We're on to the next pick. We have the Commanders back on the clock.
So the Commanders did have this pick for a short amount of time, but we received an offer from the Green Bay Packers for their 22nd and 28th overall pick, so we will be trading with the Packers. So the Packers are now on the clock.
That trade didn't go through? Okay.
You can still do it now.
Yeah, you can still do it now.
I swear I just did it. I hope the other one didn't.
I don't think you ever sent the 11. So you could just do like 11 and then force it. Because you see they have 22 and 28 already.
Yeah.
And then I guess, yeah.
Okay. All right. Packers, you are on the clock. Blitz.
I had Detroit and Minnesota. You had Green Bay.
Oh, you're completely right. You're completely right.
You're
All right. With this pick, the Green Bay Packers are going to try to get a wide receiver to hopefully be comparable to Devontae Adams, because we all know that there is no completely replacing a player that is talented like him. And they're going to pick a guy who came from one of the best schools in the nation. His name is Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams had a pretty great career at Alabama, and he's a great route runner, something that Aaron Rodgers loves. We have the Minnesota Vikings with the next pick. You are on the clock.
I might sit around and see if this pick gets traded for, because 12, I mean, you got Kyle Hamilton and Charles Cross still on the board here. Not really a big need for either one of these teams, or neither one of those guys are a big need here for Minnesota. So if anybody wants to throw an offer for that 12th pick, I'm more than open to listen.
Patriots might want to move up.
Okay. What do you got?
Do you think we can go to the Patriot draft picks? It's only 1 second. What are you looking for?
Probably a first, a second, and a little sweetener.
A second this year?
Yeah.
I'm going to stay put.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm going to take Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington. Again, not really happy with how this board fell. I kind of had a plan ready to go with Pittsburgh to move up here if Malik Willis fell all the way to 12. But, the board still okay here. Trent McDuffie, arguably a top 10 player in this class, doesn't exactly have all the athletic intangibles that you want to see, but all there up in the head. Fantastic player out of Washington, tackles very well. So should be a very good player in a cornerback room that needs a lot of help.
Great pickup for them.
I was going. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's who I was going to trade up for with the Patriots. Just an FYI.
You went in and out there. You said, what were you going to do with the Patriots?
Oh, sorry. That's who I was going to trade up for with the Patriots. Just an FYI.
To get Trent.
Yeah.
Great pick. Next up, we have the Texans with yet another pick. You're on the clock.
With the Texans' second pick, 13 overall, they would like to draft safety Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame.
Steal. We finally get Kyle Hamilton coming off the board here at the 13th pick. As you've seen, Pro Football Focus had him ranked as the second best player in this year's draft. He's definitely a top tier talent, but with this mock draft, we had team needs that were way more important than getting the safety, and he finally came off the board. Now we have the Ravens with their first pick. You are on the clock.
All right, this one's also up for sale because Charles Cross doesn't really fit what Baltimore does at all. But Charles Cross, top 8 talent, still here at 14. So if anybody wants to move up, very open to a trade here. And if not, I will gladly. Shit. This is tough, man. It's a tough way that the board fell. I'm going to take George Karlaftis, edge out of Purdue. Fits the Ravens very well. I think he'll be a phenomenal player for them. He just feels like a Raven. Being able to pick him up should be great for them. Obviously would have liked to move down, acquire some picks, but is what it is.
Great pickup for them. Karlaftis was a Boilermaker, had a pretty great career with them. He's going to be a great NFL player at the next level. Next up, we have the Eagles with the next pick. You're on the clock.
All right. So, yeah, definitely interesting picks here. There's plenty of ways we can go here. But let's see. So, with the 15th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles will select Treylon Burks, wide receiver.
It's a great pickup. Treylon Burks, one of the best wide receivers in this year's draft. He's going to be a great player at the next level, great route runner, has pretty sure hands. He played with, I think, 3 different quarterbacks when he was in college. All were okay guys. But as you can see, his stats are here below. He's going to be one of those guys that you're going to be hearing for the next couple of years. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints on the clock.
So with the way this board fell, I think it's pretty perfect. I mean, the Saints just lost Teron Armstead, one of the best tackles in the league. So I'm going to take Charles Cross out of Mississippi State.
Charles Cross, one of the best tackles in this year's draft. Great career at Mississippi State. He's going to be one of those guys that is going to be solidifying the O-line for the Saints for the next years to come. Next up, we have the Chargers, and they had a pretty busy offseason with some pretty great pickups. Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. They're still going to stay on the defensive end with this next pickup here, since the three best cornerbacks have already been taken in this year's draft. They're going to try to get somebody to basically shadow Khalil Mack for the next coming years. And this player that I'm going to name here, his name is Jermaine. No, his name is not Jermaine Johnson. His name is Devontae Wyatt. They're going to get Devontae Wyatt. I think this is a great pickup for them. Devontae Wyatt is a part of that defensive line at Georgia that I spoke to a little bit earlier. He had a great season with Georgia, and he even was a little bit overshadowed by his other counterparts, but he was a part of this ferocious defense with Georgia, and they move on to the next pick. We have the Eagles. You're on the clock.
Okay, so as I mentioned, plenty of ways we can go with this pick. Edge rusher is definitely a need, and that's where I think we will go there. So with our pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher.
Great pickup. Jermaine Johnson had an amazing career with Florida State. One of those guys that when you watch the game, he clearly jumps off the screen. Had a lot of hurries for the Seminoles there, and he tore up the ACC to say the least. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints with another pick. You're on the clock.
So at 19, the Saints, I think here we're going to look to add an offensive weapon. You know, they brought back Winston on I think a 1 or 2 year deal, you know, and Michael Thomas hasn't been able to be on the field that much. And I think a guy that can stretch the field to really help him out. So we're going to take Chris Olave out of Ohio State University.
Great pickup. Chris Olave, one of those speedy guys in this year's draft. Sure hands at his pro day. You guys probably seen it. I did cover it on my channel. Had an amazing one-handed catch. I think Chris Olave can do that on a consistent basis. Chris Olave, great pickup for them. We're on to the next pick. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers finally on the board. You're on the clock.
Yep. My Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be up here, and the board really didn't fall the way they wanted to. Obviously, Malik Willis, there's a guy that they had in mind, but he's not here. And quite honestly, the pick that screams what we should do is probably Tyler Linderbaum. The only problem I have with that is we addressed interior offensive line a lot this offseason, and that's become a pretty crowded room, even though it's not extremely talented. So we're going to take a guy that Mike Tomlin was very fond of throughout his combine and his pro day process. We're going to take the big fella Jordan Davis at 20.
Great pickup. Jordan Davis, amazing athlete. As you can see right here, Pro Football Focus has him listed at 341. That's what he measured in at the combine. 6'3", runs a 4.7 40 to be 340 pounds, which is absolutely ridiculous. Jordan Davis was getting double teamed on almost every play for the Georgia Bulldogs last year. Amazing pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If he falls there, there's no way, unless Malik Willis is there, that he's falling anywhere below the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next up, we have the Patriots. You're on the clock.
So you mentioned a name before, J.C. Jackson, who they obviously lost, and Stephon Gilmore the year before. So we're going to get a replacement, and again, it's a pick 'em, but I think Bill's going to go with the guy who was on the most proven team and had the best coaching staff. So we're going to go with Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson.
Great pickup for them. Andrew Booth Jr. seems like he'll be a great player for the Patriots. He's very disciplined in his stance and everything like that. Covered the field amazingly. One of the best cornerbacks in this year's draft. We're on to the next pick. We have the Commanders. You are on the clock.
All right, so a little bit of disappointment. We were hoping Chris Olave would fall our way, but ultimately would not end up getting our wish there. However, we do have needs elsewhere. So let's see. What should I say we can do? So we did have plenty of holes. So let's see. Let's see. All right. Man, this board. Let's see who else we've got. All right. Yikes. I'm struggling to find someone that we could take here. So if anyone has any offers, 22 can also be taken for a decent price. Otherwise, yeah, it looks like I'm gonna be.
I have an offer.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, Cincinnati moving up from 31 with a third and a fourth.
Tempting. You know what? I'll take you up on that offer.
Great.
So Cincinnati and with the third and the fourth.
Yes.
This is their third and this is their fourth. Just for that 22nd?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's get it going. Boom. Cincinnati Bengals move up to the 22nd pick. You are on the clock.
All right. As much as I don't love the idea of moving up that far for an interior offensive lineman, the Bengals have an opportunity here to complete an even better overhaul of the offensive line than what the Kansas City Chiefs did just a year ago. Here they're going to take Tyler Linderbaum. I was like a little scared to see if he'd make it to 31, because if he doesn't make it to 31, they're kind of in a rough spot, but they move up here. Doesn't take that much to move up. And you slide Ted Karras outside to the guard. You now have an offensive line of Jonah Williams, Ted Karras, Tyler Linderbaum, Alex Kappa, and Lyle Collins. That is a far cry from what you went into the Super Bowl with just a few months ago.
Preach. Tyler Linderbaum would be a great addition to that O-line. Bengals would love to pick him up any way possible. Next up, we have the Cardinals. You're on the clock.
Okay, can you pull up the inside D lineman, please?
Yep.
Okay, here. Honestly,
I can look at edge too if you want me to.
oh yeah, please look at edge too.
Yeah, sometimes some interior guys
They lost
appear in
Chandler
both.
Jones. I'll have them taking David Ojabo.
Nice pickup for the Cardinals. David Ajabo's not going to be playing next season. He may, if they make it to the playoffs, but great pickup for them for years to come. David Ajabo was basically going to be a top 10 pick before he injured himself at his pro day. The clip went viral. We all know what happened. Now we have the most storied franchise in the NFL, the most profitable franchise in NFL as well. Finally getting on the clock. We have the Dallas Cowboys. You are on the clock.
All right. So, all right. So, can you pull up cornerbacks real quick? Let's see. And we're at the 24th pick, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, sir.
With the 24th pick, the Dallas Cowboys select Roger McCreary, cornerback.
Roger McCreary out of Auburn one of the top 10 cornerbacks in this year's draft. Out of Auburn, 5'11", looking to hopefully get that Dallas secondary under control. And the good thing about him is that he didn't really give up too much penalty yards, which Dallas really struggled with last year. And he's very disciplined. We're on to the next pick. We have the Buffalo Bills with the next pick. You're on the clock.
That's the traded to the Falcons, that pick.
Whoa, what is up with my trade?
It's a trade to the Falcons for their 2 second rounders.
Yeah.
Yep. You're absolutely right. I'm not sure why the picks didn't go through. Am I missing the Falcons? There we go. Oh wow. Okay. All right. Now we have the Falcons on the clock.
Okay, so with this pick, with the loss of Matt Ryan, I think the Falcons are going to look to upgrade a quarterback. They have Mariota, but I don't think he's a long-term option. And the quarterback that we're going to take is I don't think he's the best quarterback on the board, but I think his upside and he appeals to this team because he actually described himself to Ryan Tannehill, and the Falcons coach has a history with Ryan Tannehill, and we're going to take Matt Corral.
Nice pickup for the Falcons, getting the Southern kid, Matt Corral. Matt Corral, great arm, great guy overall as well. As you can see, his QBR did drop a little bit this year, but he still had an amazing season this year, completing 66 passes for 3,351 yards and only throwing 5 picks. Matt Corral, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's draft. Now we move on to the Titans, who look to make a good pick with this pick right here. You're on the clock.
With the 26th pick, the Tennessee Titans would like to draft Bernard Raymond out of Central Michigan.
Great pickup, Bernard Raymond, one of those refrigerator offensive linemen. If you watch his film, he's knocking guys off the screen and they're not coming back. He's getting pancakes every other play. One of the best offensive tackles in this year's draft, and he's going to be a name to remember for years to come. Next up, we have the Bucs on the clock.
So the Bucs don't really have many holes. I mean, with Tom Brady coming back, they're going to want to compete, and I think it's important as he gets older that they protect him. They did trade for Shaq Mason, and I think they could add more offensive line because of Ali Marpet retiring. So we're going to take Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa.
Great pickup. Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, one of those refrigerator guys. Again, he's going to be one of those names to remember. Now, this pick right here, I feel like the system did not make again, if memory serves me correctly. Am I right, y'all? This pick got moved.
It's lined up with Green Bay.
That was.
Yeah, I think this is right.
Is right? Okay.
This is right.
Yeah.
All right.
It is right. Yeah.
You're on the clock.
All right. So let's see. First, check out interior O-line real quick. All right. And okay, scroll up. I think I found my pick. With the 28th pick, the Washington Commanders will pick Zion Johnson, guard. As you know, the Commanders have had a little bit of a leakage at interior offensive line, particularly at guard. We lost Brandon Sheriff. We had to cut Eric Flowers. And we brought in Andrew Norwell, but another guard will be needed in case he is not the long-term answer. And Wes Schweitzer, while he has been solid, it can be upgraded as well. So we figured we would go guard here.
Great pickup. Zion Johnson had an amazing career for Boston College. Next up, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. And to be honest, if I'm the Chiefs here, I am licking my lips. This is absolutely amazing, bro. All right. So with this first pick, they are going to try to get a linebacker for years to come. And this linebacker had a great career with one of the best defenses in the nation. This actual defense actually in the SEC. If you haven't already figured out who I'm picking, his name is Nakobe Dean. Now, with the Kansas City Chiefs, they do have back-to-back picks. With this pick, they're going to try to select a wide receiver to hopefully replace Tyreek Hill, which is a pretty lofty choice here. With Kansas City, they've been known to make some reaches in the draft. There are plenty of guys, plenty of speedy guys here for them to pick. Out of my three that I am thinking of right now, not quite sure who they're going to pick. So just give me a quick moment. I'm just going to look over a few things. Thinking about Sky Moore. He has some pretty great tape. His route running is amazing. You can't even name the quarterback that was throwing him the ball. He popped off the screen, had a great first season for the Broncos. And let's go ahead and have a look at one of the other guys that I'm thinking about drafting with this pick for them. His name is Christian Watson, played for North Dakota State, had an amazing career. With Christian Watson, he is a taller guy. So he's definitely going to be a different type of player for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I do not think that they're going to go ahead and go with him. I think they need somebody to fit in the offense just like Tyreek Hill did. So with the 30th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to select my guy out of Boise State, Khalil Shakur. Pretty speedy guy, has amazing tape. I think Andy Reid can definitely make him one of those players that you learn their name. Now, with the next pick coming up here, we have the Commanders back on the clock.
Alrighty, so been looking over a little bit. So there are a few prospects that intrigue me. First, let's go to wide receiver real quick. I want to check that out real quick. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do here. All right, so with the 31st pick, hold on, in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders will select Christian Watson, wide receiver.
Ooh, great pickup. Christian Watson is going to be one of those wide receivers whose name you may be hearing for years to come. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions with yet another pick. You're on the clock.
Yeah, both of you guys scare me there looking at wide receivers, but luckily my guy is going to follow me. This is my guy, George Pickens out of Georgia. Love this player. He's my wide receiver 3. I think the ACL injury is being blown a little bit out of proportion. This guy would probably be in the wide receiver 1 conversation if he played a full season. And I know people like to give him crap for the championship game where he didn't play very well, but that's because he's fresh off an injury. I think this guy's got X receiver potential, and the Lions need that. So that's going to be the pick here.
Great pickup for the Lions. If they get him, I'm pretty sure they'll love him. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars with their first pick in the second round. You're on the clock.
With the 33rd pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars would like to select linebacker Devin Lloyd out of Utah.
Ooh. Great pickup. Devin Lloyd dropped down to the second round. If he drops there, I'm pretty sure the Lions have the Jaguars have no choice but to pick him up. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions with yet another pick. You're on the clock.
I'm going to put this pick up for trade. If not, I've got a guy in mind, but if anybody has any offers for it, I'm willing to move down. All right. Well, with that being said,
Hey, I'll trade up. I'll give you 40 for 33 or whatever pick we're at. Yeah,
Do you got anything
34.
else?
I mean, it's like probably not.
So 40 for 34 straight up.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I got an offer.
Okay.
All right. Goodness gracious. I did not even see him there. Okay. I am going to. I don't like the Chiefs, but I'm going to do this. It's so smart for them. I'm going to offer the 62nd and the 50th pick for the 34th.
Let me take a look at this real quick. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Kansas City trading up. They're going to be trading their 50th and their 62nd pick for the Detroit Lions 34th pick in this year's draft. What the? All right. So Kansas City moves up because they see one of their top cornerbacks still being here on the draft. This cornerback has amazing tape. From what I've heard from some of the scouts, is that his IQ is amazing. This guy comes from a family of football players. His name is Daxton Hill out of Michigan. I believe that he'll be one of the best cornerbacks on the Chiefs roster. Next up, we have the Jets. You're on the clock.
So the Jets have, two glaring needs here. I was hoping Dean or Lloyd would fall. Could you go over to edge?
Yep.
Yeah, I think Salah really needs to get his guy. Like he had Bosa back in San Fran. So we're going to go with a guy that played in a pretty tough conference and someone that really showed out his senior year with 9.5 sacks. And we're going with Arnold Ebiketie. Probably pronounced it 100% wrong.
Sounded right to me. As he stated, Arnold Ebiketie had an amazing career with the Nittany Lions. He posted up 9 sacks this year. Pro Football Focus got it wrong. This is something that some people has been talking about, but he does have 9 sacks on the season. One of the sacks people are debating about, but that's besides the point. We're on to the next pick. We have the New York Football Giants with yet another one. You're on the clock.
Alrighty. So, we shall take a look at edge rusher real quick and see what we've got there.
I can look at stats too if you want me to.
All good. Now let's go to linebacker.
Look at both or
Yeah, that works.
okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Scroll up. Alrighty. Okay. All right, now interior O-line. One last thing I have to check. All right, I found it. So with the 36th pick in the draft, the New York Football Giants will select Kenyon Green, guard.
Seen that coming. Kenyon Green, one of the best offensive linemen in this year's draft. He had an amazing season. You're gonna hear me say this about a lot of guys, man. He's one of those refrigerator linemen. He's not being moved off the line. He's moving people off of the line. He has amazing tape. If you guys like offensive line tape, go check out his tape. It is amazing. He has some nice He has a nice foundation as well that I believe that the New York Giants can definitely build upon. We have the Texans with another pick here in the draft. You're on the clock.
With the 37th pick, the Houston Texans would like to select cornerback Kaiir Elam out of Florida.
Kaiir Elam had an amazing season with Florida, playing in the tough SEC. Kaiir Elam, third-year player, amazing. Had 2 pick sixes this season. He's going to be a great pickup if the Texans can get him. Next up, we have the Jets. You're on the clock.
I'd be willing to move down if anyone wants to move up.
The Indianapolis Colts would like to move up.
Okay, what you got?
I'm like 5 picks from now, and then I can send let's see, the 159th, and then the 159th and the 42nd.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Thank you.
All right, and now we have the Colts on the board with an amazing trade there. You're on the clock.
With the 38th pick, the Indianapolis Colts would like to select Jalen Petre, cornerback of Baylor.
Nice pickup. Jalen Petre had a great career with the Bears. As you can see, Pro Football Focus gave him an 88.6 grade, which was top 3 out of the cornerbacks that they do have here in Pro Football Focus's draft here. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears. You're on the clock. Oh, just so you know, Mr. Jacob asked if Culture Gridiron can put his camera on. But Chicago Bears, you're on the clock. I think that's me. All right. With this pick, the Chicago Bears are going to shop this pick around, see if maybe the Seattle Seahawks want to move up before I pick the player that they're thinking about getting, or if the Bills want to move up and I pick the player that they're thinking about getting as well.
The Indianapolis Colts are interested in trading 2 picks from next year.
Ooh, you see somebody you like. Okay. What's this? 39. Which picks next year?
I'm not sure exactly what we have. I think it's a 2nd and a 3rd is what I was looking at.
Second and the 3rd for this pick?
Yeah.
You got a deal.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, and now you're on the clock.
Can you scroll down just a little bit? All right, with the 39th pick, the Indianapolis Colts would like to select Sky Moore, wide receiver.
Great pickup for the Colts. Scott Moore, one of the best wide receivers in this year's draft. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks with back-to-back picks. You're on the clock, Hawk Football.
Okay, can you go to tackles?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Considering the fact that Dwayne Brown, he really wants to come back, we're not interested in like any tackles. We haven't met with any. We might be getting a left tackle, so I'm probably thinking a right tackle. I'll take Abraham Lucas. He's a good pass protector.
Great pickup out of Washington State. Abraham Lucas was a red shirt senior, very tenured player for the Cougars. Next up, you have the next pick. You're on the clock.
Can you go to corners now? I saw a stat the other day. Kyler Gordon was right up there with Sauce, so I'll take Kyler Gordon.
All right. What was the stat you seen?
Like it was something like he hasn't allowed like a touchdown or something like that, or some reception like 400 something. I don't remember what it was. But it was something really good.
Yeah. His is he hasn't allowed a touchdown in his college career. That is
Yo,
that
that's
is
crazy.
that's ridiculous. Wow. I gotta check his tape out. All right. Next up, we have the Jets with the next pick. You're on the clock.
Okay, so we traded down just because we saw a lot of linebackers, which is another need. We could go with the safe options in Leo Chanel or Chad Muma. But I think that the Jets might go in someone like a little bit more of a project. So we're actually going to scroll down a little. Can we go to linebackers and scroll down a little bit? Keep going. Damn, PFF. Keep going. We're going to go with Quay Walker.
Quay Walker, one of the best linebackers from one of the best defenses in this past year's NCAA. As you can see, 52 tackles. Um, all these Georgia players, their stats may not weigh as heavy as the other players, mainly because almost everybody on that defense is a dog. And if you even ask me, the best player on Georgia's defense isn't even in this year's draft. And you see how high Pro Football Focus has them ranked. We have the Bills with the next pick. You're on the clock.
Oh, I'm up again. Can we go to cornerbacks?
Yes, sir.
All right. Damn. Can we go to interior defensive line? Sorry. And then can we go to edge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know I think there was some off the field stuff, but if they can get it together and he can be Ed Oliver's pairing in the middle, plus I think he's pretty versatile and he can come off the edge too. We're gonna go with DeMarvin Leal out of Florida State.
Oh, I passed him. All right, DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M with this
My
pick.
bad, that's from Florida State. Yeah.
With this next pick here, as you can see, he had an amazing last year for the Aggies. Played in all games for them. And next up, we have the Cleveland Browns with their first pick. You're on the clock.
The Cleveland Browns are going to take Travis Jones here out of UConn. This is a guy that probably shouldn't be as far down as he is. Statistically, wasn't too far off of Jordan Davis, and measurables, he's right up there as well. I think this guy deserves to be in tier 1 in this interior defensive line class and probably deserves a first-round grade too.
Definitely one of the best defensive linemen in this year's draft. Now, he's not as heavy as my guy Jordan Davis, but he still gets the job done. If you watch his tape, he's getting double teamed, still working that double team, working through it. One of the best guys in this year's draft. If he drops down to that second round, a team is going to love him. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens. You're on the clock.
Yep, so I'm back up here again, and this one's going to be a bit of a different one. It's going to have to scroll down a little bit. It's going to be Zion McCollum out of Sam Houston State. And he's a project. He's about as much of a project as they get because coming from Sam Houston State, you don't play a whole lot of elite competition. But this guy, 6'2", ran a 4.33, had a 10 out of 10 perfect RAS score, which is essentially just a conglomerate of your combine stats. Had the number 1 score out of every cornerback that has been tested since 1987. So quite the athlete, and Baltimore has a long history of developing these corners into serviceable corners and hopefully a superstar that comes in and fills that role that Marcus Peters may leave in free agency soon.
Nice pickup for them. You explained everything perfectly. Next up, we have the Vikings with the next pick. You're on the clock.
Yep, so I'm back up here again. Yeah. And with this one, we're going to go Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. This is a guy I like a lot. He's been sneaking into the first round of a lot of mocks. Edge got kind of crossed off their needs list after Zadarius Smith came back and Danielle Hunter should be back next season, but Boye Mafe's too good of a talent to slide any further.
Great pickup for them. Mafe had 26 hurries, which is amazing. Next up, we have the Commanders with yet another pickup or another pick. You're on the clock.
All right, so we got our wide receiver taken care of. We've got our guard taken care of, who could potentially be long-term picks. Now we need to go for a linebacker, as our linebacking core has been probably one of our biggest weaknesses for the past couple of years. So with this pick, the Washington Commanders select Chad Muma, linebacker.
Chad Muma, great pickup. Had an amazing combine. His football IQ is amazing as well. He's going to be one of those guys that you may be hearing for years to come. Great pickup for the Commanders if Chad Muma drops that low. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears. You're on the clock. I believe that's me, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's me. All right. So we have with this pick here, the Bears are going to try to pick one of the best players available. There's really no reason for them to do anything else. They could go position needs, but with the Bears, they're going to need about 2 or 3 drafts or one amazing free agency to turn things around. They're going to go ahead and select one of my favorite players that's still on this board. His name is Nick Bonito. Great guy out of Oklahoma. Had an amazing season with Oklahoma to finish off everything. 33 hurries this year, 32 hurries last year. He can get the job done. He has an excellent motor. You can see Pro Football Focus gave him a 90.5 rating, which if you looked at the other edge rushers that were drafted, puts him in the top 5 category with Pro Football Focus's grading there. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints on the board again. You're on the clock.
So, although the Saints brought back Winston, they don't know if he's going to be long term at the quarterback position, especially with the injury. And the way this board has fallen, I think it's great for them to take a quarterback in this spot. So, we're going to take Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati.
Great pickup for them. Desmond Ridder can learn a lot from famous Jameis. Desmond Ridder has all of the tangibles that you look for in a quarterback. With Desmond, is all about the intangibles that people have questions about. As you can see, his last season, he threw for 30 touchdowns and only 8 picks. What an amazing talent. He ran a 4.540, if I remember correctly. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions on the board again.
All right, and with this pick, they're going to take my linebacker 1, Leo Chenal, out of Wisconsin. Fantastic athlete, can play Mike linebacker for them, which is a position that they need, among others. And a little bit of a slide here for him, so they're going to take advantage of that here at 50.
Great pickup for them. As you stated before, he was your number 1 linebacker in this year's draft. He is the number 1 linebacker for a lot of different people as well. Next up, we're going back to the NFC East, and we have the Eagles with their next pickup. You're on the clock.
All right, so with this pick, the Philadelphia Eagles will select Jaquan Brisker, safety.
With this, it's a great pickup for them. Jaquan is adept to playing in the cold with the Nittany Lions there. He had an amazing career. They are giving him an 82 on Pro Football Focus, but as we've seen last season, Pro Football Focus isn't the most accurate in dictating how these guys are going to perform next year because, I mean, who can? Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock again.
All right, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to move down here with the Detroit Lions. They're going to try and move back up after moving down from 62. So the Detroit Lions are going to send pick 62 and pick 97 to Pittsburgh.
Only for 52?
Yeah.
All right. You have both of those teams, right?
Yeah.
All right. Trade accepted. Boom.
And with that pick, the Lions are going to take what could potentially be their quarterback of the future. Who knows? But with him taking this big of a fall, I think it's time for Kenny Pickett to come off the board. Lions playing a dome. Kenny Pickett's got the small hand problem. And, do you want to give him – you might as well give him a shot. You seem to not really be ready to compete this year. So give him a shot. Worst case scenario, you send him to somebody else in next year's class as you look for a bigger and better quarterback.
Great pickup for them. Kenny Pickett had an amazing season last year. As you can see, he threw for 42 touchdowns and only 7 picks. Kenny Pickett, as you stated before, he'll be great playing in that dome. And he's used to that cold weather there in Pittsburgh. So I'm pretty sure he can get used to playing in that division as well. We have the Green Bay Packers with the next pick. And that is the team that I have with this pick. We are listening to calls. Maybe the Bills want to move up and do something.
Nah, we're good on that.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to leave you hanging, just waiting around.
Let me see who I picked previously. All right. With this next pick here, they're going to look to get one of the premier offensive linemen in this year's draft. His name is Dylan Parham. He had an amazing season at Memphis. Hopefully, he's going to be able to keep Aaron Rodgers' jersey clean for the next few years. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. You're on the clock.
So I think that the Patriots need to get Mac Jones a wide receiver. Parker's not going to cut it. Yeah, can we go to wide receivers? I have a second round grade on this guy, and I think he's actually pretty good and underrated. He played with one of the quarterbacks that's been drafted already. We're going to go with Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati.
Amazing pickup, bro. Alec Pierce, I love watching his tape.
Yeah,
he had an amazing combine. I think that he has the tools to really be one of those guys at the next level. If he goes or ends up going to the New England Patriots, I think that Bill Belichick can definitely make him one of those players that we hear about each and every Sunday. Next up, we have the Cardinals with the next pick. You're on the clock. Next up, we got the Cardinals with the next pick. You're on the clock.
Maybe he just hates them so much he doesn't want to draft for them.
NFC West, we got Hawks football. You still there?
Oh, my bad. All right, so let's see here. Can you look at corner? Let's see, centers.
Centers. Yep. Interior linemen.
Yeah. I'll have him take Alec Lindstrom.
Out of Boston College, the Cardinals need pretty much every position on that offensive line, if you ask me. So he looks to hopefully be one of those players that the Cardinals can use for years to come. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys with yet another pick. You're on the clock.
Can we go to tackles real quick?
Yep.
Okay. Scroll up a little bit, and I'll tell you to stop when I get there. Okay. No. Go. Okay. Go down a little bit. Sorry. All right. Keep going. All right. You had him. All right. So with this pick, the Dallas. Oh, sorry. Let me get my camera on. All right. With this pick, the Dallas Cowboys will select Nicholas Petit-Frere, tackle. And as you know, they lost Lale Collins at right tackle, so they need an upgrade there. Didn't quite see it as much of a need for the first round, but for a second rounder who's still there, I say it's a great pick just for being able to replace Lale Collins and potentially maybe even be the successor to Tyron Smith.
You were in and out. You said Nicholas, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. Great pickup for them. He kept quarterback's jersey clean there at Ohio State. We have next up the Bills with back-to-back picks. You're on the clock.
I'm going to make this nice and easy. I know there was one FCS player already taken, and I'm going to take another one, same position. We're going to go Tariq Woolen, the cornerback at a UTSA. Super
All
speedster.
right. Bills get a pretty nice cornerback out of UTSA. Let's go ahead and look at his stats very, very quickly. Only gave up 6 touchdowns in his 3-year college career. He also I don't even know what to say. I looked at the overall grade and
he's a
his passer
project.
rating that he allowed.
Yeah.
But
he's definitely a project, but he's a super speedster. He tested really well at the combine, and Tre'Davious White definitely needs someone across the field from him too.
Yeah, you can say that again. All right. Next up, you have the next pick.
And we're going to go with the first running back off the board.
Ooh.
We're going to go with my running back one. I don't think Devin Singletary is the answer. I don't think that they're going to waste the draft capital to trade for CMC. So I'm going to go with Breece Hall.
Breece Hall is an absolute monster. I haven't seen too many plays where one guy successfully brought him down. Speedy feet, one of the best players in this year's draft. But you guys already know with running backs, their draft stock has dropped these past couple of years. With Breece Hall, as you can see, he did not miss a single game for the Cyclones, had an amazing season. There were some games for the Cyclones where it was just like, give Breece Hall the ball and let's hope we can win this game. Now, they didn't win all the games, but that was their plan. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers with yet another pick. And with this pick, I am going to pick a wide receiver. This wide receiver, another speedy guy, had an amazing season with Penn State. If he drops this low, I do not see him leaving out of the second round. His name is Jahan Dotson. Amazing career. I think that Aaron Rodgers can definitely use 2 wide receivers if they end up going that way. But them losing Devontae Adams is a huge blow for him because Lazard is not going to be able to pick up that slack. Next up, we have the Bucks with the next pick. You're on the clock.
Can you go to interior D line?
Yep.
Okay. So right now, I think like the Bucks are debating on to bring back Sue or not. It's kind of like in the air, and even if they don't bring him back, or even if they do bring him back, he's still old, so they can add a player here. And I think Logan Hall is who we're going to go with.
Nice pickup. Logan Hall, one of those huge interior linemen. He's kind of undersized. I know I just said he's huge, but he's kind of undersized. He got the job done for the Houston Cougars. Next up, we have the 49ers. You're on the clock.
All right, so I need help at corner. I watched Taylor Britt a couple times, and he's really aggressive and like mean on the field, so I'll pick him for the 49ers.
Great pickup. Great characterization of how Taylor Britt plays the game of football. He's gritty. He's in people's face. He's bumping them at the line. He's making sure that you see his presence out there on the field. And that is something that the 49ers could definitely use. They did just lose one of their nickels, Kawan, and Taylor Britt could probably step up into that nickel position. Next up, we have the Steelers with their last pick in this mock draft here. You're on the clock.
All right, the board fell pretty well here. Terrell Edmonds has not been re-signed yet, and while we're still fingers crossed on Tyrann Mathieu in Pittsburgh, we're going to take Lewis Seen, the safety out of Georgia here. This guy is starting to move into the first round pretty consistently. I like this player a lot. Was on a winning team, and hopefully can be one of the final puzzle pieces to this very, very good defense.
Great pickup for them. If he drops that low, I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin is going to be jumping for joy. Next up, we have the Bengals with their last pick in this mock draft. You're on the clock.
And with this pick, they're going to take Drake Jackson, edge out of USC. I like this player a lot. This was a guy who was probably a first-round pick this time last year. Just struggled this past season, but hopefully Cincinnati could turn around and get him an edge to go opposite Trey Hendrickson.
Nice pickup for them. I'm pretty sure they will enjoy it. With the final pick, we have the Denver Broncos here. I know it says our team needs include quarterback, but there are some cornerbacks that I think that we can still get our hands on in this year's draft. And if you ask me, I think we should be looking for a cornerback in next year's draft. We're actually going to be getting a linebacker with this pick. This particular linebacker played for one of the best defenses in college football. This particular linebacker was one of the leaders on this particular defense in college football. His name rhymes with Christian Harris. His name is Christian Harris. And that completes the mock draft. If you guys don't know, Pro Football Focus does give a grade on the draft. Please give it a few seconds here as that all gets wrapped up. I definitely just want to congratulate all y'all on this, man. This is a great experience. Thank y'all. This is amazing. The trades was bomb. I didn't expect all these trades to go down. Thank you for the commentary as well. Let's go ahead and see how everything shaped up here as Pro Football Focus tries to pitch me on there. All right. I guess I have to pay for that. But it did tell me previously what grades we were getting. But if you guys don't mind, who do you guys think had the best draft? I can show the board again.
Is there a way you can get the whole first round on the screen?
Hang on, let me see if I can
like zoom out. There you go.
Personally, if I had to pick a single team, it would probably be the Giants. I liked a lot of what they did. You get Evan Neal, who's my tackle one, Derek Stingley, my cornerback one, and Kenyon Green, who is my guard two. But still a steal at 36. I love that draft.
I think the Jets had a pretty nice draft. I also think that the Lions had a pretty nice draft for their years to come as well. And the final team, which I think had the best draft, in my opinion, is the team who got George Pickens. Where is that at? Oh, that was the Lions. Okay, yeah, I think the Lions had a pretty great draft here. They got some players that can definitely be starters for years to come. And yeah, that's my opinion on it.
I think the Jaguars had a pretty good draft, getting obviously the number one player in the draft, and then Lloyd falling all the way to the second round, getting arguably a top five defensive player in the draft.
Yeah. I think who had the weakest draft was
Detroit.
definitely the Raiders. I don't know which one of you guys was picking for them, but they had the weakest draft. No, I'm just joking. That was me. They didn't have any picks, if you were wondering. But yeah, this is a great experience, man. Great meeting you all. Everybody, feel free to go ahead and give you guys' page another shout out here before we wrap things up here. We're gonna start from the top to the bottom. Culture Gridiron, you're on.
Yeah, so make sure to go follow my page. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff in the off season, and then really pick it up like when the season starts. Also, my friend he runs a basketball page. It's Culture Hardwood. He does basketball. I do football. So yeah, go drop follows on both those.
Cool. Yeah, I just want to say thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm definitely looking forward. If you ever do another one, I'm definitely down to do it. My Instagram page is at onside kick football. That's pretty much all I do. I just make some graphics and some predictions and stuff like that just for fun. So you guys can go follow me. I put out content pretty much every day. So
Thanks for the invite, and I appreciate all y'all joining and giving your time and having a great draft. Some great trades went through, and relatively realistic draft happened. It wasn't really anything too crazy. I look forward to future drafts if anyone's interested.
Once again, thank you, man. Appreciate you having me back. I appreciate you putting this all together. Go check us out at BlitzPod on Instagram, at the Blitz Podcast on Twitter. Just put out a brand new 2-round mock on Instagram at BlitzPod, and then check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at the Blitz Podcast.
First off, I just want to give a special shout out to Adroit for having me on. And it was a pleasure doing this with all of y'all. Just go follow Hawks Football _12 on Instagram. I post scouting reports, highlights, mock drafts. I post a whole bunch of stuff Seahawks related. And thank you all. Go Hawks.
And I want to start off by saying thank you, Adroit, for having me here. Thanks for having everyone here. It was a pleasure doing this mock draft with you. But yeah, I'm Commander.Punk. I cover Commanders, Dolphins, Rams, and Vikings news, and I'll probably be doing more of the draft. So, and of course, your Misfit resident Punk has spoken.
This is a great experience, man. It's going to be another mock draft next week. All you guys are definitely invited, man. And also, there's going to be a draft special right before the draft where we do another mock draft. And I also will be live during the mock draft. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it, man. Hey, y'all have a good one. We gone.
peace out.
You too.